I'm Dajana Domivska, and I'm actually a CEO. I run a studio in Copenhagen called KnapNok Games, and we're developing currently this sci-fi or like spaceship game called Affordable Space Adventures. And Affordable Space Adventures is kind of a collaboration with Niflas Games. It's a Swedish game designer that is known also for very tight puzzles, design like Knut Underground, Knut Stories. And this game is pretty much like kind of like his style of puzzle, like mind-bending puzzle design, but our kind of console experience and multiplayer kind of design experience. And it's mostly like a stealth puzzle game and a bit of simulation feeling, because it's all about you feeling as a captain of the spaceship and controlling it on the gamepad, and really like changing different settings of your engines that you have available to turn on and off on your small screen on the gamepad.
So it's really cool. How long was the game in development?
So the idea started like pretty much when the VU came out, and we were discussing about what could be a ideal game for the gamepad or for the VU. Since at that time we were doing Spin the Bottle Bumpy's Party, which is also very exclusive kind of VU experience because of the setup of the controllers and small screen that you can like sit around it instead of look at a big screen, because the game was very personal. But then we're discussing what else could be fun to do on this, and obvious idea that Niklas at that time, he was working on his game Knut Underground from our office, and he was like, oh, what about a spaceship game where you're like controlling everything from the small screen, and that kind of started like 2 years ago or something like that. But then slowly we decided to actually make the game, and despite all the is it a good business decision or not to make like a one platform kind of exclusive game, we just followed our gut feeling and started prototyping it last summer. And then last kind of November, December, we started full-time like production. And it looks like it's going to be a year of full-time production, so we're ending it around November as well. So it's pretty, far in the development, I would say, like almost 2-3 months, and we're kind of done.
Oh, good news. What makes the game so different from other games in that genre? What do you think about the special features?
So, I mean, one big difference is that it's not a lot about the genre when we actually started developing this game, but we kind of really want to, we are a small studio, we want to be known for something and not just making another puzzle game. So for us, it's also a lot about how to design for new novel interfaces. And I see the VU as a novel, like a new interface. It's not the typical controller. I mean, you have this screen that obviously you should use for something more than just a map, So the thing is that it's not about defining new genres or anything, but it's definitely about defining new ways of actually designing games and designing interfaces for the games, or like using the technology, the hardware in a different way than what usually a typical a traditional game developer would do. So this genre itself, I mean, the game itself, it's the sci-fi or the puzzle games is very different from that perspective, mostly because of the type of gameplay with a secondary screen, I would say. And then another thing that I think is special about the game is the multiplayer aspect, which is like playing 3 players or 2 to 3 players, like controlling the same spaceship using different controllers. Like one is on the gamepad, and you have only a screen with different engines and different settings of the engines, and that's all you can do. You're an engineer, and you have actually a very important task because you get information that the other players don't. They have like regular controllers, and one could, for example, be the flashlight and scanner, and the other one could be actually the movement of the spaceship. So they look at only the big screen, and there's a lot of information, or warnings that they should get from the small screen that the player with the gamepad has to communicate out. So it becomes this like a space team game experience, but with more meaning, because actually the actions really matter, the communication really matters. It's not just like a random screaming, but it means actually a lot in the game.
It really sounds great. How was your experience working together with Nintendo?
Yeah, well, we worked together for a long time. We even had a VRare game at some point. It's like more of a multiplayer kind of a painting experience. So we have like a kind of a connection or like a relationship for a while. So I would say like it's been really interesting and it's been great. I mean, I guess that's why we're still developing for the platform. But I mean, it's also not, it's becoming easier and easier because I think we used to be like not that experienced console developers, and had to learn a lot, and the whole like approval processes and publishing on such a platform was super not something we were experienced or like know much about. But maybe the fact that we didn't actually publish PC or a mobile game before, so we didn't we didn't have this feeling that it's so much harder or so much easier than other platforms. So for us, it was just the way it is. Where other developers would come to you and ask, like, "Are you crazy? Like, why would you want to do self-publishing on a console? That's like so much work." And it's like, yeah, but would mobile be less work? Like, how do you do PR on, for us it was like the other way around. I think now we are more experienced and we can say that it's nice. I love working with Nintendo, but it's also a lot about, having someone that can talk to people in Nintendo and like get your initiatives out. You can't just expect that things will happen for you, basically.
Yes. Did you have any elements you were talking about or wanted to implement in the game which weren't possible?
I'm actually about to find out. No, but there is some, where it's not necessarily about like specific things in the game that we've thought that are impossible. It's more about, we would love to, for example, involve Miiverse somehow in the game, like the community, the Nintendo Wii U community. But it's we just want to do a bit more than whatever is done before. So we're exploring the space, pretty much exploring the space of what's possible, and not just rely on like the standard way of using it, which is like you can take a screenshot and post it, or share what you did. No, we kind of want to maybe I don't want to spoil it, but I don't even know if it's possible. But we want the ending to have a little bit bigger connection to Miiverse than usual. Like, so we kind of want the ending to be very, very connected to Miiverse. So you somehow have to kind of do something in Miiverse. So yeah, I'm not gonna reveal it yet. I think it's a big twist in the game as well.
Then I definitely have to play it.
Yeah.